So, see, let's say I have my interview tomorrow, and how I shall prepare for that interview, is really important, especially when you have put a fake experience, or let's say you only have a year of experience and you have put 3 years of experience. So you have to understand that interviewer's expectation will be a 3-year candidate. Okay, so he will ask question according to a 3 years experience, not just 1 year experience. So if you do not know how to fake it, then obviously your answers will not have confidence. You have to put a lot of confidence when you go for an interview. Okay, sometimes all you need is confidence. Sometimes even if you know the answer of something, but if you say it without confidence, that will not make any impact at all. And sometimes even if you say a slightly wrong thing as well, but you have enough confidence, that takes things in a positive direction. I'm not saying that you should say false things with 100% confidence, but on an interview day there is no point of feeling underconfident, because that will not help you at all. So usually when I have any interview, on that day I feel the most confident person. Even if I'm not good in some topics, I feel that the topics which I am good at will definitely be able to make up for those things. Okay, so you should have the confidence on your strong things, and you should have confidence on the things which you are good at. Okay, and you need to lift your interviews with the help of those things. Okay, so whenever you go for an interview, before a day or two, you prepare yourself for that interview. So how you should prepare yourself for that interview, that is the part we are going to discuss today. First, you need to work on your introduction part. Okay, it will be maximum of 5 minutes, but you have to prepare it really well. How is something which we will be talking about. Then, if you have obviously your fake experience, if you have a fake experience, then you have to make sure that your project explanation part is crystal clear. Prepare it really well. Okay, and see, project explanation part is something which obviously will be different for everybody, but within that project explanation part, you need to make sure that what was your role. First, you will talk about the business process of the company or the project. Then you will talk about your roles and responsibilities. Then you will talk about day-to-day job. Then you will talk about delivery, testing. There are so many things you need to prepare. Okay, they could be question from it, they could not be question from it, but doesn't matter. But you have to prepare it from every corner. Okay, testing, deployments, bug fixes, support. See, so all of these things happen in a project. So you have to prepare. Don't think about whether you will get a question on this or not. Just think about that I have to prepare it, in a best possible manner. So even if I get a question from let's say a delivery related question, or if I get a question from deployment, I should be able to tell the answer. Okay, so we have to spend some time on each part in order to make sure that our project explanation part is crystal clear. Project explanation part is crucial, very important for the people who do not have real-time experience, or they have put some fake experience, because somebody who has actually worked on that thing will definitely be able to tell, because he has worked on it. But if you have not worked on those things, then it will obviously be not as genuine or as natural for you like other candidates. So you have to make sure that you fit in those things in your mind properly, so that when in interview you go, those things comes out of your mouth very naturally. Okay, we have to work on that part as well. Okay, yes, we will cover those things, don't worry. We will cover what to come in the delivery part, what to come in the testing part. Okay, then obviously there will be some question and answer round. in the question and answer round also, you need to know what are your strong topics. You need to know your weak topics. And you need to know your average topics. Okay. Question and answer round will come. And this round obviously will decide your fate if you will get selected or not. But from the preparation point of view, you should have a clear understanding about what are your strong topics, what are your weak topics, and what are your kind of average topics where you may be able to answer or may not be able to answer. First, you have to categorize these things within yourself, then you will do the preparation. Okay. After the question and answer round, there could be some coding assessment. So most of the time you will either get a trigger question or a LWC question or a batch Apex question. And sometimes in few interviews, you will get the SOCL queries as well. Okay. So you will practice these things as well. I mean, these things are true for even the people who have genuine experience. It's not like only for the people who have fake experience, but we need to make sure that for an interview, we prepare in a phase manner. We understand that what will be the next phase. Once you are done with the coding round, there could be some cross questions from the code you have written, or there could be some company related things. So you also need to understand company related. This is basically the R&D on company. This is very important. I'll tell you why. And then some closing remarks. Closing remarks are also very important because the way we close our interview plays a very vital role as well. If our interview was 50-50, and if we close it properly, there are higher chances that we will get selected rather than if we just close it like, yeah, no, I don't have any question for now, we are good. That does not make any impact at all. Okay, so we will start with the introduction part first. Okay. See, if you have worked on multiple projects, then your most recent project will be something which you will be explaining more than the other projects. But let's say your previous project was on insurance, and the current company which you are giving interview for is also working on the insurance or somewhere banking related projects. So they will be able to find more relevance from the insurance project. So in that case, you can switch the places and can talk more about your insurance project. It depends on company to company, and you have to change or divert your strategy within that interview itself, quickly analyzing what they're looking for. So when we go for an interview, first thing is that we prepare for is to check about company, their domain, their products, and if you can find out what Salesforce is doing there. These things basically help you analyze that what they will definitely be looking for in an interview. So let's say if you are giving an interview for a company like Uber. Okay, so you already know what Uber is doing, and you can do some R&D about the Uber because it is a product based company. But let's say if you are going to give an interview for Deloitte, then obviously Deloitte is a service-based company and you will not get to know about which project you might be working on. So in that case, instead of finding more about company, obviously you will find something about company like Deloitte, how many years old company Deloitte is and all those things. But the major thing you will be trying to focus on when you do some R&D on the company will be like what kind of projects they have, what kind of major major sectors they are serving. See, because Deloitte is a service-based company, you'll not be able to get to know more about, there is no point of knowing more about the company because they are working in a service-based environment. So you will obviously be working on another setup where you will be working for some other clients. So in that case, you can think about more about their project, what kind of projects they have, how their project allocation works, and how which are the major sectors they have mostly project on, what is the cloud where they have mostly projects on, all those things. And how do you get to know these things? By interacting the people who are already in Deloitte, talking to them on the LinkedIn, or especially trying to understand if they have mentioned something about all those things in the job description itself. If they are specifically looking for sales cloud consultant or a service cloud consultant, or they're looking for a financial service cloud consultant, based on the job description also, you need to need to know how to read JD. Sometimes JD is tailor made, like sometimes JD is created just for a particular specific requirement, and in that case JD will be giving you all the hints about what they're looking for. In that case, from the JD you will be able to analyze a lot of things what they're looking for. So let's say in the JD, if they have written that must to know things is LWC and the flows and the triggers, then you know that this there will definitely be question from the LWC trigger and flows, because this is a must to know thing. Good to know things are the things which are, if you know, that's good. If you don't know, it is okay. I mean, these things will not be the deciding factors when they select you or reject you. But if you know that, then these things will obviously increase your chances of getting selected. Okay. But if you do not know, these things, they will not be a deciding factor to reject you. All right. So always start with must to know thing. Okay. And make sure that you know all the must to know things or most of the must to know things. Then you go for the good to know things and see how many good to know things you know about that particular job description. So reading the job description is extremely important. Okay. And see, a job description tells us a lot about the what they're looking for. Sometimes they do not change, so it depends on company to company as well. Sometimes they do not change job description at all. For 1 year they have same JD, for 5 years they have same JD. In that case, it will not tell you a lot, and that is okay. You just go through it and see what are the must to know things and try to make sure that you know most of these must to know things. If there are something in a must to know section and you have no idea about it, then try to get some basic idea, at least a basic idea about it. Let's say they want to have field service lightning as a must to know thing. Then even if you have a basic idea about it, then in an interview you will have an additional edge over other candidate who have nothing, no idea about field service lightning. So in that case, even if you have done a simple badge on field service lightning, that will give you a huge boost. I have actually seen this thing when I given an interview for Cape Gemini. I did not know much of the field service lightning, but I knew that basic things like what are the work orders, what are the service appointment, because I have done a basic module on that. And when I went to the interview, he asked, "Have you worked on the field service lightning?" I told him, "No, I have not worked on field service lightning, but I know the basics of it. So I'll be comfortable in if you put a question from the topic." And what he asked was, what is a work order, how work order is associated with the service appointment. So those were very basic questions. Most of the time, if topic is a complex or if a topic is rare, then obviously you will get easier question from that topic. And obviously if you have already tell that you know the basics of it, then they will not ask very tough question. But if you are able to answer their question, then that will be a single tick, like you have passed this particular topic. So in companies, most of the service based company, we get a candidate and we have a you know predefined structure of an interview. We will get the topics. So topics are, let's say, trigger, batches, asynchronous Apex, admin knowledge, field service lightning, cloud knowledge, deployment knowledge. So we've got around 10 topics. We need to see if someone is good at admin or not. We just need to tick, yes, he is good in admin, yes, he is good, he knows deployment, he knows testing, all those things we need to take. So sometimes if, let's say, he has spent a lot of time in the initial question, then all he need to do is to ask, at the end, he will only ask, have you worked on field service? You say, no, I've not worked on it, but I know the basics of it. He may ask a question or two, and then he will just take it or cross it. So that's how sometimes even the basic knowledge can help you. Okay. So that is, we have to know how to read a job description properly, because job description in most of the time tells a lot about what are the topics they will be mostly asking from. Okay, but obviously it is not 100% true as well. There will be interviewer who will ask topic randomly. They will not even see the job description by themselves. They will only see that, okay, how many years of experience you have? 3. Okay, they will ask question for the 3 years experience. So there will be both type of interviewer. You need to understand from the interviewer's strategy that what kind of interviewer he is, if he is asking a random question or he has a structured format of it, and that's how you will take that interview. So we will prepare for the worst cases as well. Okay, like as a candidate, we have to prepare for all the scenarios. Like if the interviewer goes completely south, it is not going in any particular manner or the way we have thought. That there will be interviews who will not go as per you. There will be interviews who will not, who will be so bad that you will feel that let me close the call and just cut it. There will be some interviews like this, but we need not to cut that. We need to face that, because if you cut the call or if you just turn off your laptop, that will not help you, and those things will keep coming to you and start haunting you. So face that, whatever, even if it is going tough, face that. Try to make sure you create your own notes, you create the topic. Just have a copy with you like this, and if he's asking a tough question, just try to write down a pointer about that question, so that later on when you go through it, you will be able to go through that question again and able to write down that question later on. All right, this is the first part. Then comes the introduction part. Introduction is extremely important. As I have told multiple times, the way we introduce ourselves basically determines the next set of questions in most of the cases. Not all the cases obviously, but most of the cases. So we need to make sure that we properly introduce ourselves, and this introduction should be least about us, more about the technology and the project we have worked on, because we have to keep it brief as well. Typical time is around 2 minute 3 minute, and then if he has any question about your introduction, then 1 or 2 minutes for that. Okay, so that is why I've written 5 minutes. Prepare it in a way that it tells something about you, something about your technical achievements and the things you have worked on. And if you are doing something for community, or if you have created something about your own portal or something, try to maximize your technical things there. So you can start by okay, my name is Mohit Tripathi and I'm currently working as a senior Salesforce developer at Coursera, and I have total of 7 years of experience in Salesforce. I have worked for multiple clients and different domains. I have experience on the Sales Cloud as well as on the Service Cloud. I have worked on a project on the Community Cloud as well. When it comes to Salesforce, I really like working on the process automations and the UI side of Salesforce, where I get to work more on the Lightning Web Components and the process automations, flows, process builders, and triggers. I also have some experience about the field service Lightning, and I'm eagerly interested in learning the Financial Service Cloud or something like that. So you will tell a mixed blend of the things you like, the things you know well, and the things you are interested in learning. Okay, that will definitely give an idea about you, what you're interested in, what you're looking for, and what kind of questions they can put in from you. Okay, we need not to go much in detail about see, if I'm giving an interview as administrator, then obviously I will have to highlight the administrator related topics. So in that case, I'll say that, okay, I'm working as a senior Salesforce administrator at Coursera, and in my day-to-day job, I worked a lot on the flows and the process automations, approval process, setting up the email templates, sending up the email alerts and all. I am keenly interested in sharing and visibility and the data model of Salesforce. I really like data management part. I'm also responsible for doing the, the data upload and the data cleaning activities. I am responsible person for the share, for the, the object schema and creation of any new object and keeping a track of all the things we have in our org. So you have to explain whatever you do in your company in a proper manner, and it should have a blend of the topics you like, the topics you are interested in, topics you work on the day-to-day basis, so that interviewer will get an idea about what are the topics or what are the things you work on day-to-day basis, and he can obviously put up questions from there. And then if something, if he has a topic which you have not mentioned but he has to check in you, like if I'm developer and I'm not mentioning batch epics at all, but obviously it is an important topic, so even if I will not mention batch epics, he will have to ask question from batch epics, so he will ask question from batch epics later on. But most of the time, the topic which we say in our introduction part will be the topic on which he start an interview. Typically for developers, how we do that is that we start with fundamentals of Apex. So we will try to put some questions from fundamentals of Apex, and then we move to triggers, then we move to SOQL queries, test classes, then we move to asynchronous part. Few interviews start from the Lightning Web Component directly. Few interview, depending on what you have highlighted in your introduction part. Let's say you have highlighted flows in your introduction part a lot, then there are very high chances that your interview start on the flow topic. Similar to LWC, if you have started on the LWC, there are very high chances that your interview will start from the Lightning Web Component. But a typical interview start from the fundamentals of Apex, and then it goes in trigger, and then test classes, then asynchronous, then Lightning Web Component, then at the end, see, flow is very important, so it could be up in the hierarchy, but admin related topics for the developer is something which we try to see at the end. Like let's also check the admin abilities of this candidate. So later on in the second phase of your interview, you may get some admin related questions as well, from mostly from the security and visibility, data visibility and sharing, and sometimes you get questions from flows as well. See, typically nowadays, flows and LWCs are very important. So most of the questions in the initial phase, because initially he has to see if the candidate is good enough to spend an hour with him or not. Okay, so he'll try to see with a quick fire question on LWC or flow is that if you're good enough. If you're not good enough, then he will obviously end the interview in first 15-20 minutes, and that is fine. But if you are good enough, so if your interview is going actually lengthy for around a hour or something, then there are very high probability that you were able to answer enough questions, sufficient question for him to keep attached to you. Because if you were not good enough in first 15 minutes, then obviously he will close the interview in 16th minute. So if you were good enough, then in most of the cases, your interview will stretch for around an hour or so. And that is not a negative sign. That is a positive sign, is that because interviewer is taking interest on you. So that is why he is asking a lot of questions and a lot of cross questions. Okay, so prepare your introduction part well, and make sure that whatever the things you are good at, you are able to mention those things in your introduction part, because that will increase your chances of him asking question from that topic which you are already comfortable with. All right. All right. And you also need to understand that this is just an attempt to, get question from the topic we are comfortable at. This is not a rule, and every interviewer will not follow it. But most of the time, because see, we as an interviewer are working on our own requirement. We never prepare for an interview. Like if I have to take an interview, I will get a notification that this is the interview, you're going to take, and interview is maybe a week away from today. I'll just say, yes, I'm available. And then I will get a reminder on the interview day itself. So I will not prepare for that interview. And most of the developer never prepares for an interview. They just go through the job description. They just go through your resume, sometimes not even the resume, and then they will directly join the call. And based on how you introduce yourself, whatever you say about yourself, they'll start asking questions most of the time. But yes, I have seen a couple of interviewers who actually prepared for the interview. They had predefined set of questions, and they asked only those set of questions, and they expected the same answers which they have in their mind. So I call them foolish interviewers, and you will get a couple of those as well. So it is a learning process. You will learn it. All right. So introduction part is very crucial, and if you prepare it really well, then in most of the interview it will help you a lot. And as a candidate, we have to prepare obviously for the introduction part as well. So try to spend some time on the introduction part and try to learn it well. Okay. For everybody who has joined this call, I will recommend you to just focus on the introduction part for today. Think about it, how best you can introduce yourself. Okay, whether you should say, hello, my name is Mohit Tripathi, or you should say, hello, I am Mohit Tripathi. Think about all those things. What sounds better from you? What is coming more conveniently from your mouth? And then, create an introduction part. I'm not saying to, do mugging and all, but try to talk to yourself and think about which one sounds better. Okay, and then prepare an introduction part for yourself. All right, that's one part. Then comes the most crucial part, especially for the people who does not have a real-time experience or have faked experience for some additional years. Project explanation is extremely important thing. Most of the time they will ask you to explain your project in all the rounds, in the technical as well as in the techno managerial as well as in the managerial, because a project is a project and it covers everything. Okay, it covers your technical abilities, it covers your managerial abilities, it covers your team managing skills, it covers your how you work as a team, it covers how you did the deployment, it covers how you did the testing, how you fixed the bug, how you provided the support. It covers everything. So start a project explanation part with the business process of the company, business model of the company, or what you were doing in that company. So let's say I was working for a non-banking financial corporation or an insurance company, and just a second, guys. So I was working for an insurance company, and this company was into the insurance selling, and we had different types of insurance plan depending on the person, depending on their age, depending on their priorities. We used to provide them different types of insurance, and that is the business model. And then comes the what was the role of Salesforce there. Okay, so after that, what Salesforce was doing in that company, how Salesforce as a product was fitted in that particular company's business model. So we were using Salesforce to track our customers, or to track the deals of our customers, or to track the existing customers and provide services to them. And Salesforce, we were using Salesforce for the Sales Cloud to sell our insurance, or we were using Salesforce for the Service Cloud to provide services to our existing customer base. So that will be the part of role of Salesforce. Then your roles and responsibility. I was working there as a senior Salesforce developer, where my major role was to work on the enhancement and make sure that the system is working perfectly fine. We used to get regular enhancement requirement from the different team. Let's say they are looking for a certain kind of automations to send email reminders to their customers or to their insurance providers automatically. Then I was the person who was working on those kind of requirement. And yes, you can introduce, you can say about your project explanation. You can highlight or introduce your project in the introduction part. Okay, and then obviously a project explanation need a separate section for it. So it will start from your introduction, but you will explain it further after finishing your introduction as well. Okay, so see, we will start with our introduction. We will give a glimpse of our project, and we will talk about the things we have worked on mostly in the Salesforce. Then ball will be in his court. If you want more explanation on your project, he will ask you, or if you want directly start asking questions from you, he will directly start it. Sometimes what happens is that we prepare for an interview, we talk about the topic, but he still expects you to explain more. Then in that case, you can start the project explanation part just after your introduction part. Okay, so in my after doing all those things, my name is Mohit Tripathi, I'm working this, and I have worked on all these topics. I have experience in sales service, whatever. My current project is for a non-banking financial corporation, where we are working on an insurance project where we are mostly serving the customers by creating these things. And you can start explaining your project explanation part, and then question and answer part will come later. So it depends on how interviewer is taking it. If he's good enough, sometimes even when you give your introduction, interviewer will interrupt you because he just wanted a brief introduction and you are over explaining it. So sometimes he will interrupt you itself. So try to make it very brief, take a pause after introducing yourself, let him ask questions if you want to. And if you want to know more about you, then you can start the project explanation part. But after giving a brief introduction, just take a pause for a second or two and let him let's see what are his reaction. If you want to ask a question directly, or if you want to know more about your project, then you can explain the project explanation part. But we have to prepare everything in the project explanation part. So in case if he asks more about the project explanation, we should be able to tell him more about the project explanation. Okay. And how we will prepare for the project explanation? First, we will talk about what was company is doing, the business model of the company, business process of the company, and then the role of Salesforce in that company. And then we will come to our roles and responsibility. Okay. See, so our roles and responsibility, was to develop the things, do the enhancement, and make sure that everything is working perfectly fine. Now it depends on company to company, roles and responsibility. If it is a service-based project, okay, then your responsibility might only be to work on the development, or you might only be responsible for providing the support. Okay, so depends on company to company, depends on what kind of project you have selected. Let's say you are working in a service cloud project where you are working for a different client. Okay, and your roles and responsibility is to work on the development. They are using agile methodology. Okay, and they have sprints. On those sprints, you get user stories. Okay, and those user stories are something where you will be working on. So you can explain that we are currently working on a agile methodology where we have a 2-week sprint where we get to get assigned a user story, and then we work on those user stories. So my major role is to work on the user stories assigned to me. But not only this, I also help other candidates, help other fellow developers to do their own development work. I'm also somebody who is doing the peer review and all those things. You can explain a lot. So roles and responsibility will keep on changing company to company and process to process. Let's say if it is a product based company, okay, and they are not following any agile or something, they have just identified the things they want to do, and then they are directly doing it. There is no agile at all. Then you will be saying that I'm working on enhancing the existing product, and we do time to time we do get the requirements to enhance or to automate something from the business side. And then our role is to work on those business requirement and convert them into technical specifications and convert them into the technical requirement. And then we work on those requirement and give a quick demo to business, and then we deploy those things. So there is no sprint at all, but that's how we did it. So it keeps on changing for company to company. You need to see, if you have a fake experience, then you need to see which one you will be able to convey more conveniently, which one you will be able to comfortably share with the interviewer, which one you will be more comfortable in telling this story about. Okay, if it is a fake interview, it is more about what you are comfortable at, and then you can build a story around that. Okay, I normally do not recommend all those things, but obviously there will be people who will have fake experience due to numerous reasons, and I'm nobody to judge that. So if you are faking it, then you better know how to fake it. Okay, and have confidence in faking it. Otherwise, obviously interviewer will identify you in a snap. Just like that, he will be able to understand that you do not have experience. Okay, so if you are faking it and you have already decided to fake it, then better learn how to fake it, and with confidence. That's it. That's what I want to give you. And then after your roles and responsibility, you can typically say that in a typical day, what I normally do. So I spend 30% of my time in the communication part, where I interact with the different team members, different business owners, to get more clarities on requirement. Or if I'm doing testing, then interact with the testers. 60 or 50% of my day is dedicated to the development. Around 50% of my day's job is to work on the development task assigned to me, and the remaining 10% is keeps on changing upon the team's requirement and support related activities, or if I have to do some certain other activities like maintenance and all. So you have to have a clear picture about what you do in a day-to-day life. Even if it is a fake, you will have a clear distinction about how many percentage of your day is dedicated to development, how many percent is for testing, how many percentage is for the communication part, like team meetings, meetings with colleagues, meetings with testers, meetings with business owners, all those things. Create a brief separation about these things. It should have 30-40% at least development part, because obviously they'll be hiring you as a Salesforce developer. And if you are an administrator, then you can change it accordingly. Okay, but for a developer, at least 40% should be there in the development, 20-30% can be communication, and 10-20% can be maintenance and support activities. Right? How delivery was working. Now, delivery, how you were delivering the project. Okay, if you are working in a service-based company, then you are obviously working for another client, and you will be working on, most of the cases, you will be working on the agile methodology. You were working on the different sprints. So delivery were happening based on the different sprint. We used to have a sprint planning call. We used to plan the sprint, and then there was a month sprint or a 2-week sprint. We decide what are the user stories we can take. So let's say if a team has 5 members, okay, 5 members will each of those 5 members will have 8 working hours per day. So we will have 40 working hours, okay, per day for a team. So we can accordingly, we put the story points in a story, how many hours a story is going to take. Like if I am a developer and I have 5 days for the development, then I have 40 hours of the development. And if a story requires 13 hours to, develop, then I can have at least 3 story, not more than 3 story for that particular sprint. So that's how we do story planning. We do sprint planning, where we put a story point on each story, and then based on the total story point and the total number of hours we have in our development team, we divide those stories to different developers depending on their strength and weaknesses. So let's say if I have somebody who is good in the Lightning Web Component, I will try to give him more on the Lightning Web Component, rather than giving him something on the batch Apex, which will take more time for him to deliver. All right. So delivery most of the time is agile in all the projects. But if you are working in a product-based company, then there might be possibility that you are working for the client directly. I mean, you are working for your own company, so there might not be any sprint at all. I have seen those environments where there was no agile methodology, and they were just delivering the projects and all. So that depends on how you're planning that project. Okay, but agile is the safest way to say more about the delivery, because that will be a traditional, that will be a standard way of saying it. Okay, so more on agile I will cover, don't worry, like how sprint planning works and how all those things happen. Then testing. Okay, see, it 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 might be possible that he'll not ask any of these things, but before the interview, it is your responsibility to prepare in the best possible manner. Okay, so that's how we are going to, well, that's what we are doing here. Then you will have an idea about how the testing is working. So let's say you are working in a 2-week sprint, where 1 week is for the development and the next 3 days are for the testing, where testers will be doing the testing. You should have a clear idea about on which environment testers do the testing, on which environments you do the development. So you most of the time will be working on the dev environments, and then you will deploy those things to another environment, which could be called a QA environment, where QAs were doing testing. And then QAs will see if it is working fine or not. And if there is any issue, they will raise a bug. Bug will be assigned to you via a Jira ticket, okay, or any tool their company is using. And then you will work on that bug in your dev environment. You will rectify the problems, and then you will redeploy those things to QA environment, so that QA can test those things again. That's how testing happens most of the time. Okay. And You do not need to know much about how they were doing testing, if they were using any testing tool like Selenium or something, because you are a developer. You need not to worry much about that thing. But if you know, that will be an additional point. Then comes the deployment. How you were doing the deployment. You should have a clear idea about which tool your company was using in the deployment, whether it was the change sets, whether it is the Git, whether it is just the VS Code, whether you're using Scratch. Or so you should have a clear and convincing story about the deployment. Even if you do not know, uh, you should have in a project, because you are faking an experience. Yeah, you cannot say that I do not know anything about the deployment. It's like you should have a clear idea about what your company was using. So they were using the GitHub, Jenkins, and Bitbucket, or they were using the Ant migration tool, or they were using the Flossom or Copado. But at least you should have a clarity about what tool they were using for the deployment, because you are also part of the deployment cycle and you will be deploying from the dev to QA sandbox. So you should have a clear idea about deployment. Okay. And if in the worst case scenario, you did not know anything about the deployment, then you can say that you used change sets. Okay. That is the safest bet, but least impactful. Okay. But if you are too afraid to say anything about Git, or which many of us are, don't worry about that. If you actually feel that if you say Git and that will trigger additional questions which you will not be able to answer, then play a safe bet and go for the change sets. Okay. But you can also additionally say that you're trying to learn the Git, or you're trying to learn the DevOps Center, or you're trying to learn the Copado or Flossom or any other DevOps tool. I am currently using AutoRabbit in my projects, which is really good. And I have also implemented DevOps Center in my current company. And then comes the bug fixes part, how you were fixing the bugs. See, most of the time bugs comes directly in the production. So the moment the bug come, you will get the business users will raise the issue, and then a ticket will be generated. Most of the time a Jira ticket will be generated and will be assigned to the developer who has worked on that requirement. And the problem with the production bug is that you have to resolve it as soon as possible. So you need to see if it is something which can be quickly fixed. If that is the possibility, then you will fix it directly in the sandbox and deploy it. If it is something which will take some time, then you will roll back the deployment. You will reinstate the previous stage, how it was working fine, and then you will work on your sandbox to fix it. If it is going to take some time, then you will have to roll back your deployment, which caused you this bug. Okay. Support is something which is ongoing activity. So if you are working on a project where you are also responsible for support, then you can get tickets like create a user, or assign this permission set to user, or this approval process is not working, check out what is happening. This case is not getting routed to the proper queue. So it depends. If you are working on the support part, then you can say, yes, I have worked on support as well. But if you're not saying, then you can say, no, I was purely working on the development. Support is especially helpful if you are giving interviews for the service-based company, especially the company like TCS or Wipro or Infosys, who have a lot of support projects. So they might feel that, okay, you already have experience in support, which can be handy for them. Okay. This is not something which I'm recommending. It's just that if you want to increase your chances of getting selected, these companies have a lot of support project, which obviously I never recommend to any of my student. If given a choice, obviously select a development project. Even if it is tough, it will give you more opportunity to learn. Okay. And then there will be some question and answer round. So so how will you prepare for that question and answer round? First, you need to understand your strong topic, like the topics you are strong at, the topics which can lift your interview, the topics which can lighten your interview, the topics you are mostly confident about, and you're sure that if I get a question from this topic, in most probability, I'll be able to answer that question. First of all, write down those topics. Most of the time, I recommend to have a strong hands on triggers, LWC, batches, flows, and record, sharing. And if you have those 5 topics as your strong topic, then there are very high chances that you will be able to clear the interview with flying colors. You will rock the interview, because these are the topics which you will mostly get in the interviews. But I mean, obviously, it cannot be true for everybody. Like few people might be good in triggers, but not might be good in the flows. Okay, because they are kind of contradictory. If they prefer triggers, prefer to write triggers for situation, they might be not really good at the flows. So you have to identify. See, these are the topics which are must to know topic, and if there is any topic which is a must to not know topic, but that is your weak topic, then you have to work on that topic to make more command on that topic. So you will have to identify if your weak topic, let's say my weak topic is sales cloud and service cloud and deployment and community. So my weak topics are sales cloud, service cloud, deployment, community. I'll see that if any of my weak topic is a must to know topic or not. So from here, I'll say that, okay, sales cloud is a kind of topic which if I know is good. Service cloud deployment is something which I should definitely know as a developer. So this is a kind of must to know topic. Or if you do not know LWC, or if you feel that LWC is your weak topic, then you can definitely prepare LWC more, because a must to know topic cannot be your weak topic. It could be a strong topic or it could be an average topic, but it cannot be a weak topic. Because if there is a topic which is a must to know topic and that is a weak topic for you, then you will have to work really hard on that topic, because we cannot afford to have a must to know topic as a weak topic for us in an interview. Okay, so this is an exercise for you guys. At least write down 3 strong, 3 weak, and 3 average topic for all of you, and analyze if your weak and average topic can be improved. And if there is a must to know topic in your weak topic, then you will have to work on it. There is no choice. You will have to work on it. Let's say my average topics are, what should I say? Sales cloud, CPQ, and testing, and integration. So in that case, if I see my average topics, then on the average topic, you will see if that average topics can see. Average topics are the topics where you either have not worked much, so you do not have enough confidence, or you feel that this is something which is not really important. So you will see if any of these topic is a topic which I can actually improve and make a strong topic before the interview. Like if I can work more on the integration, and if I make it a bit stronger, then it will become a strong topic for me, and I can highlight that topic in the interview. So your aim will be to make your weak topics an average topic, and your average topics as a strong topic. Ultimate aim is to make every topic as a strong topic, but obviously that will require a lot of time. So let's say you have interview tomorrow, you will not have enough time to make everything as a strong topic. Then you will categorize the topics and start with interviews. I mean, try to lift your interview with your strong topics, try to avoid the weak topics, and try to learn more about the average topics so that you can talk more about those topics. All right. So this is a little exercise for you all. Try to do it on your own today. Then comes the coding assessment. Okay. Most of the time, they will ask you to write a trigger, LWC, batch, or sometimes SOQL queries. Mostly in the SOQL queries, they will write the aggregate query. They will ask you to write the aggregate queries. So before your interview, I think a day or two before your actual interview, try to write down 2 triggers on your own, on copy, and then on notepad, not on VS Code or dev console. Just a day before your interview or 2 days before your interview, you will do this exercise. You will write down 2 triggers, the triggers which you are more comfortable with, like parent to child roll up summary and all those. Try to write down 2 triggers, first on your copy and then on the notepad, not on the VS Code or the dev console. You will not be writing there. Most of the time you will get to write down it on the notepad. Okay, so you will first practice it on the copy to identify all the problems you have in the thinking, and then you will write it on the notepad. Same goes for the LWC. Create one LWC component end to end. Use VS Code for this. All right. And this LWC component should have a good scenario. Like you should not be creating a component which is just displaying your name. At least try to display a data table. Display an account list by name. So you will create an input field which will pass the account name, pass that account name to the Apex, fetch the list of account from there, and then display that list. That will cover at least 3-4 topics like conditional rendering, like how to iterate over a list, how to get data from Apex. At least try to learn those things. Keep handy those things. A batch Apex. You will create a batch Apex, one batch Apex. You can write it wherever you want to. See, the probability of getting a batch Apex question is least. The highest probability is of trigger, then LWC, and then comes the batch Apex. So you just create one batch Apex and try to, make yourself comfortable with the syntax of it and logical thinking of it. And then SQL queries, SQL queries, you make sure that you know all the aggregate queries and you know how to use the count, sum, min, max, and for update, limit, offset, all those things. It comes in the advance. You try to learn these things from the SQL query part, because sometimes you will get the aggregate queries as well. All right. On the project explanation part, there is one thing missing. Sometimes you should also have scenarios. Like, let's say you have worked on triggers. So keep 2 trigger scenarios handy. At least 2 trigger scenarios. Batch 1, batch Apex scenario, LWC 1, LWC. You should have all these things handy. Okay, prepare for your, you do a preparation in a way that you have worked on this trigger in your current organization or current project, and you should have a business process about what this trigger was all about, what you were doing in that trigger. Similar goes for the batch and LWC as well. So you should actually have a real-time scenario of a trigger which you have currently worked on a project. Obviously, if it is a fake experience, then it will be a fake scenario, but it should come from you in a way that it is a genuine trigger and you have worked on this trigger. See, interviewer will only get to know you have worked on it or not when you say it you have not worked on it, or the way you say it that you have worked on it or not. So if you say it without any conviction or without any confidence, then obviously it will come as if you have not worked on all these things. Okay. And then comes the company related details. See, company related details are extremely important, because if you have done some R&D on the company, then it will help you to close interview in the positive manner. See, by this time you will be done with all the things. Like, by this time, either the interviewer will explain you about their company setup, how they are using Salesforce, or he will be about to close the interview. Okay, so in both these scenarios, if you know more about the company, that will help you ask a logical question from the interviewer if he gives you an opportunity to ask those questions. So most of the time when you end the interview, they'll ask you, all right, I think, Mohit, I'm done with the interview part, and it was really nice talking to you. Do you have any question for me? So whenever he say that thing, you will ask, if you get an opportunity, it is always good to ask a couple of logical questions from the interviewer. And how will you be able to ask logical questions? If you have done some R&D on the company, it will help you to ask the logical questions. Like, let's say if it is a product based company, then you can ask about the products they have, and yeah, their product line, the company, how it is working, how Salesforce fit in their company, how Salesforce fit in their business model. Okay, if he has not already explained you all those things. If it is working on if it is for a service based company, then you can ask about what kind of projects they have, what is the pipeline of Salesforce, what kind of projects we are expecting in the near future, what will be the growth for someone like you who has around 3 years of experience. uh, you can ask about the job profile, the role they are offering you. Let's say they are offering you staff engineer role. You can ask more about the staff engineer, like the experience range of staff engineer. What will be the next role in the hierarchy, in the pyramid of a staff engineer? You could ask like how the project allocation works in this particular company. Like, let's say you have worked mostly on the sales cloud. So will you be getting sales cloud project, or you will be it will be upon you to choose the project? Or if you can choose a project of your own choice. So those are a couple of logical questions you can ask from the interviewer. What it does is that it basically gives an idea about you, that you are actually interested in the role, you want to work with the company, you are looking forward to work for the company, and your total outlook towards the company is really positive. So that will definitely gives you an opportunity to say a positive remark and close your interview in a positive manner. Okay, so make sure you have a couple of logical questions. Don't ask irrelevant questions like how many leaves are there, or what is the notice period in the company, or when will I get promotion. Those kind of questions should be avoided. Those kind of questions will not give a proper impact, but try to ask logical questions. All right. Yes, they can be question like, what are the most challenging scenarios you have faced in an interview? I have also created a video on that on my YouTube. You can think about the scenario which was actually complex, and this question requires answers in multiple layers. So first, in the first layer, you will talk about the problem, like the problem, this was the actual problem, why the problem was complex, what you did to resolve the problem, and yeah, any final remarks on like how we should tackle these kind of problem, or how we should avoid those kind of problem in future. So let's say if you were getting a heap size issue, or if your org is getting the governor limits for no reason, then most of the time, most challenging scenarios will be when you get the governor limits and you have no idea about what those governor limits are. Or in the worst case, you will not be able to find the root cause of the problem. Or sometimes you get a very complex requirement which is not easily possible to do with the tool set provided by Salesforce. So in that case, you need to use something else, or you need to uh, think out of the box. You need to go beyond your limits to do the solution. So those kind of things. Let's say you are getting the very classic case is CPU timeout. And CPU timeout is something which requires a lot of debugging, a lot of R&D, and a lot of solutioning to actually solve the problem. So you can also say that thing. Is it okay to disclose client name? If you're comfortable, you can say that. If you're not comfortable, you can, you can say that I worked for one of the pharma company, or one of the insurance company. It's not, see, they cannot force you to say the name. That is because they, see, if you are, let's say, giving an interview for Deloitte cannot force you to say that for which client you have worked on. But in most of the cases, even if you say that, that will not make much difference. But if you feel that that could be a deciding factor, then you can just uh, anonymize the name and say that I work for one of the best um, insurance company, or one of the best computer hardware company, or one of the telecom company. I did not I never hide those my clients, because see, if I have worked for good clients, that gives more weight to my answers, and that gives more weight to my experience. So I have worked for Cisco, I have worked for PepsiCo, I have worked for Ericsson, and I proudly say that I have worked for these clients, because those were the real good projects I have worked for. So I say that, but if you feel that that can change the direction of your interview, you can avoid saying that as well. They cannot force you, of course. All right, let me take the questions if we have any. I think that's what I mostly wanted to cover, to prepare your intro. And this is the same thing you will be doing for every interview. And after the interview, you will be analyzing what went wrong, what went good, and how you can improve for the next time. And that's a cycle. Okay. All right. Questions, guys.
Hi, Mohit.
Yep. Hello.
How can you explain your Scrum call and retrospective meeting?
I don't think there will be many questions regarding to the Scrum's call and retro meetings, but yes, you can say that we used to have we have a sprint planning call. Scrum calls are the calls where we most of the time uh, as a group gather for, let's say, 30 minutes as a team. And then in the team, let's say we are 8 members, 5 developers, 2 testers, 1 BA, 1 lead. So we as a group of 9 people will connect on for 30 minutes, and we will talk about what are the things we are working today, what are the things I worked yesterday, and if there is any blocker for me today. So these are the things basically to make sure that everybody is aware about where we are as a whole team, in the project delivery. Okay, so this basically helps you to understand and raise any concerns. If let's say you've got a blocker in one of your story, or let's say if you feel that you will not be able to deliver the story, you need immediate help, then you will obviously say that thing in the Scrum meeting, and then it will be your responsibility of your manager to give you more support and allocate a resource. So that's how Scrum meeting happens. Most of the time these are just for the daily updates and to raise any concerns. And retrospective is the meeting which, once you deliver a sprint, then we go for a retrospective to see what we did right in a particular sprint, what went wrong in the particular sprint, and what are the things which we can improve in the next sprint. So retrospective is basically to analyze what went good, what went wrong, what we can improve. That's it. That's how a retrospective work. After closing the sprint, let's say I close the sprint on 23rd of June, so on 24th, I can have a retrospective call where if I faced an issue, let's say if the developers were not able to develop the things on time, so that testers did not get the time to do the testing, then we can say that from the next sprint, we need to make sure that developers are able to close their stories within the defined time, so that testers get enough time to do the testings. So these are the typical scenarios happens in the retrospective call, where we kind of say that what went wrong. Focus will be on what went wrong and how we can improve it. Nobody focuses more on what went good, but yes, that's how it happens. Deployment is something which is not related to a number of years of experience. Most of the time, even if you have 1 year of experience, you will be working on your own deployment, and the things you have developed, you will be deploying on your own. So yes, it is expected from a 1 year or a 2 year developer as well to do the deployment for his own story at least. But what happens is that from the dev environment, most of the time, every individual will deploy their things to QA. And from the QA to the higher environments, we will have a single person who will do the deployment to the higher environments. Many times it will be client team most of the time, and sometimes it could be someone from your team as well who will be doing the deployment. But then after QA, it will be a single person who will be doing all the deployments as a whole unit, not as a individual deployments. Okay.
Hello. Yeah, Mohit sir. Yeah. Hello.
Hi, Pankaj.
Yeah, hello sir. In recent interviews, interviewer asked in Pletra and Cloudprint, they asked me to rate yourself on flow, trigger, admin. So how should I rate myself?
Yes.
How? Yeah, how to handle this type of question.
Yes, many times they will ask you to rate yourself, and they see the question basically what they're trying to understand is that how you think that you're good enough for a particular topic. Let's say they ask you to rate yourself in the flow. See, on the parameter from 1 to 10, never rate yourself too high or too low, because too high means that you know everything. I've made a mistake of rating myself too high. Like one time, a person asked me, rate yourself on the scale of 1 to 10 on your Apex skill. I rated myself 9, saying that yes, I know it. And no, I rated myself 9 on the lighting web component, but after that he grilled me. Like he asked so many questions from the deeper concepts of lighting web component, which I was not aware about. Then he told me that never rate yourself too high, because 9 means that person who is actually working on the R&D team of lighting web component cannot rate himself 9. So keep it moderate. I most of the time do it around 6 or 7, because there should always be scope of learning. So if you are good at some topic, never rate yourself more than 4, 7. Okay, because more than 7 is something which you are really good at. So he can ask any in-depth question from it. And never rate yourself too low, like never go below 6. Okay, never
Sir,
go below 6, because below 6 going means that you do not have confidence in that topic. So
yeah,
between
hi, hi,
6
sir. On a scale of 5, sir.
on a scale of 5, never rate yourself more than 3.5 on anything. See, I normally, sometimes you can go 4 as well. So you can say that around 3.5 and 4, but never rate more than 4. I would say I will never rate myself more than
Yes.
4 on any topic.
Yeah, this thing happened in yesterday interview in Cloud Prince. I rate myself in Salesforce admin 8, right? So I, because I know the concept whatever in tutorials in YouTube available for the beginners. So I was confident there that yeah, I know admin whatever needed for the developer. Then she grilled me a lot in admin.
She
Very
see, but I made this mistake once, and that was on LWC, because I was giving interviews in the lighting web component, and most of the questions which interviewer were asking, I was able to tell. And because I was giving interviews for the companies like IBM, Nagero, Deloitte, and I was able to answer, so I was very confident on that thing. And this interview was for the Salesforce. So that person asked me, how would you rate? I said I will rate myself 9. And then he kept on asking questions from so many deeper concepts of JavaScript, and then he said that somebody who is working on the R&D of lightning web component within Salesforce cannot rate himself 9, because 9 is too much. Okay, 9 means you know almost everything, which obviously in the Salesforce we cannot say for any topic that we know everything. So then I realized that I should never rate myself more than 7, and never rate myself below 6 as well. So it's a, let's say if it comes to me, if somebody asks me how will you rate yourself on the integration, I'll say 6. If it is about anything, let's say if somebody asks me how would you rate yourself on the flows, I would say 7.5, LWC 7.5, Apex 7, because I also need to have a gap for the improvement. Like obviously nobody can say that I know everything. So I'm still learning, and Salesforce is huge. So I think 7.5, I would rate myself 7.5. That's how you know, kind of take it diplomatically, that it should not sound too, egoistic, and it should not be sounding too low self-esteem as well. Okay. Right. Please add some deployment related interview question in the C. Okay. Okay. Then Shri, I'll add couple of deployment related questions. What is the future aspiration of you as a Salesforce developer? What path? See, yes, they ask a lot of these things to understand what kind of, uh, what aspirations you have, in a way that they want to see if you are going to stay in that company for long or not. And if you stay, what path you are going to take, whether you want to become a manager, or you want to become a technical architect, or you want to become a techno-functional manager, or you want to become a lead. So most of the time try to stay on the technical path, and you say that I would definitely love to follow the technical architect path, where I'll be closely connected to the technology I'm working on, and I'll be closely connected with the things happening on the tech world. So most of the time go towards the technology, don't go towards the managerial thing. If you are administrator, then obviously you will have choice to say if you want to become a product manager someday, or you want to become a functional manager someday, then you can go through that. But for the developers, my suggestion is to go towards the technical part and say that I look myself as a technical architect down the line, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years from today, something like that. What do product owner do and how do they communicate with the developers? Product owners are the people who are responsible for a particular product's delivery or development. So they are kind of head of that particular product. So let's say there is a product you are developing which will have an interaction between Salesforce and SAP, and then the product manager will be responsible for not only Salesforce but also for the SAP, and to make sure that the communication is happening smoothly. They are kind of owner of that particular piece of functionality you're building.
Sir, how to tackle the question which we don't know the answer, of which we are not like, I don't know, I'm not aware of the 0% of that, let's say.
Yeah.
So how can we tackle this?
There will always be question which in an interview there will always be question which we have no idea about, and instead of saying anything irrelevant, we should say that, oh, okay, so let's say he asked you a question from community cloud, like how will you make sure that a guest user is able to log in the community without username and password, and you have never worked on the community, so you'll say that sorry, sir, I am not sure about the answer right now because I did not get enough chance to work on the community, but I would definitely, try to learn it and explore more about the community part of Salesforce, or I would definitely try to find the answer of this question. If this is a topic which you know, but you do not know the answer, then you can say that, sorry, but I'm not able to recall the answer right now, but I'll definitely try to learn it right after this call, or try to explore more about this right after this call. Sorry, I'm not able to answer it right now. There is no harm in directly saying, sorry, you do not know the answer, because that will save a lot of time for you and the interviewer. Instead of saying it, what mistake most of us does is that when we do not know something, then we try to, answer it anyway. Like if somebody asks me about the what is the tooling API, and if I do not know, then I'll try start saying what I know about the tooling API, even if that is correct or not correct. So if you're not aware about the correct answer, the best possible answer for something will be that, sorry sir, I do not know the answer of this right now. I would definitely like to learn more about this in future. So because saying a wrong answer or saying a half-baked answer will never do any good for you. All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. What if someone asks, do you participate in project release? Participate in project release as in, Priyanka? Release from the project or release of a product?
Release of a product, Mohit. Like this was question asked in one of my interview.
Launching, right?
Yeah, launching of a product. See, most of the time we as a Salesforce developer are not directly associated with the launching of the product. It is the product team who will be working on it. We as a developer, although keep a close eye on the product launch and see if there is any bug or something we are getting. So we obviously are closely involved in the process and we keep a track of what is happening with the product launch and everything. But we are not the people who directly launch all these things, although we will be always be in the loop when we launch something big. So not directly, but yes, we have to keep an eye to make sure that everything is working fine. And if we have to be on the edge to see if there are any errors we are getting, so with that, we are ready to resolve those things. But directly a developer is not involved in the product launch. You have
Okay.
You have been transitioning too often. Can you say you get bored and are looking for something new always? How do we trust having you for long term? Yeah, this is a very tricky questions, and we do get these kind of tricky questions sometimes. See, you whenever you get these questions, you have to be diplomatic. You can never say that no, if a company is not teaching me something, then I will look an opportunity outside. Because uh, there will come a time, mostly in the product based company, there will come a time when everything will work perfectly fine and you will be in the comfort zone. You will be, in a shape, you will be in a zone where everything is working fine, and you are not challenged enough. But you cannot say that I leave the company if I'm not challenged enough, because then if the company who is working on a product which is stable or something, then he'll say that okay, in this company you have a stable product, you will not get so many challenges. You can diplomatically say, depending on for which company you're giving, depending on if it is a product based company or a service based company, you can say that yes, I love to take challenges, and I yes, that there were reason for that transitioning from one company to the other, and you can explain the reasons why you changed. But it's not like I get bored very easily, and I love to explore about the company business policies and the technology. It's not like I get bored very easily. But sometimes when things becomes too comfortable, I look for more challenges. So if a company will be able to give me enough challenges, if the company will be if I'll have enough to learn in the company, then why will I leave a company? Obviously I'll not leave a company. But if I get to a point where my learning becomes zero, then it will be difficult for me to, because I have to stay relevant in the market as well. So you will have to handle it diplomatically. Never say too loud, never say too soft, and never say like you will never leave the company. Obviously if your learning will stop, you will have to leave the company. You will have to look opportunity outside, because you will have to stay relevant in the market as well. Let's say you are working for a company who is still working on the Salesforce Classic. Will you be able to become relevant in the market after a couple of years? No. Nobody will give you a job if you do not know Lightning. So that's how you need to make sure that there is a perfect balance between your what you have. See, it should be a win-win for both employer and the employee. If and it goes for the employer as well. Say, if I'm not contributing in the company, then there is no point of having me in the company. So this is also true for the employer as well. This is also true for the company as well, that it should be a win-win for both company and the candidate. If the company is not winning anything from me, then obviously they'll fire me. And if I'm not winning anything from the company in terms of technical things, in terms of work satisfaction, in terms of work-life balance, or in terms of better growth and salary, then obviously I'll have to look. But don't say these things too loud. Keep a mixed of, say it in a 50-50% manner, that the situation should be a win-win for both company and the employee. And whenever there is an imbalance of the situation, then the things go wrong. So if I have enough opportunity to learn, grow, and participate and contribute in the company's growth, then why will I leave the company? I'll never leave the company. Okay. Try to handle it diplomatically. Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, actually, I have a doubt from LWC, so may I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, actually, I didn't get the answer about what is connected callback. Is it synchronous or asynchronous?
Okay, connected callback is synchronous or asynchronous. Anybody want to attempt that?
So I think, as per my knowledge, I think it is synchronous, because see, basically the JS file, inside the JS file, what we return, we are exporting the class basically, right? And into that class there is no such keyword like it is defining it is asynchronous, right? So I think it is synchronous.
It is synchronous. It is synchronous. Okay. And the callback methods are synchronous. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And what is the reason for that? Like how you are saying if they are synchronous?
See, there's what whenever we load a page, there is no such thing that it will load whenever when we call the Apex, that is asynchronous thing, because that is dependent on the asynchronous thing, that is dependent on the asynchronous operation. But whenever something happens on the connected call, on the life cycle loop, those are not in asynchronous. We do not have any such functionality to wait for the callback or wait for these. They will happen instantly whenever the page will load. So these are the things when I don't think they are asynchronous. Actual reason, we will try to see if I can put it in a definition format. Okay.
Yeah, sir.
And thank you guys for supporting me on that LinkedIn. I don't know. See, that was,
Sir, recording start.
yeah, thank you.